When we think of communication, we do not think about what systematically happens when people are exchanging messages with one another. Today, I will be discussing two processes of communication with some everyday examples of both types. The linear communication model is depicted as a sender does to a receiver. According to the linear model, there is a sender, who is the person that creates the message. This sender also encodes the message, which is typically putting your thoughts and symbols into words. Then there is a message, which is the information that is being transmitted. This message is sent through a channel or the medium in which the message passes, and finally is passed on to the receiver, who is the person attending to the message and will decode or make sense of what was being said through the noise, which is the various disruptions of everyday life. The linear model is typically applied for mass communication rather than human communications. An everyday example of a linear communication model would be if I was sending out an e-bite to several people. In this scenario, I would be the sender. I encode the message by typing it up on the computer and making my invitation. My message would be the invitation. The channel I would use is my email, and the receiver would be my friends receiving the e-bite and then decoding the invitation by reading it. A transactional communication model is different from the linear model, as this model does not contain a sender or receiver, but in turn uses the word communicator in order to better capture communication as a human process. While some concepts are still used from the linear model, the transactional model enhances the model in order to take into account the way humans interact with one another. The transactional model takes into account the environment or the field of experience that affects how A or B can understand others' behaviors. Some of these environments could be different factors. For example, different ethnicities, socioeconomic status, age, experience, and passion of topics. Transactional communication isn't something that we do to others. Rather, it is an activity that we do with them. Like the textbook states, person-to-person communication is a dance between partners. The way you dance varies from one partner to another, much like in communication. An everyday example of transactional communication could be a person that is giving you the silent treatment. They are deliberately trying to not communicate verbally, and while they may not be saying anything, that does not mean that they are not communicating with you. It could be a grimace or a side eye that gives it away. So suppose that it is your significant other and she is giving the silent treatment to you because you did something wrong and she is angry. Even by not verbally saying anything, she's still communicating to you that she is angry by simply not talking to you and or giving you mean looks or hand gestures. While linear communication is a good tool to help look at information through a tech perspective, transactional communication gives us much more insight on the way that human communication is driven by innate factors that show us why we communicate the way we do with others.